had a dream the other day that I was a mermaid and I was on the beach and I saw a few of my mermaid friends in the water, and then they got brutally attacked by sharks and devoured.
Oh, what kind of shark?
I don't know, like a scary one. And then I started swimming in the water to like check out what was going on or save them or something. And then the shark obviously started following me, and it was so scary. And then these people on the beach saw that an innocent mermaid was being attacked by sharks, and someone like ran out to me and picked me up and saved me.
Are you sure you were innocent in the dream?
Yeah, I was innocent. What could I have done wrong? I was just a mermaid.
I don't know. Maybe you stole some of the shark's food or something.
No, we were just sitting there being beautiful.
Okay, well, welcome to episode 10 of the Wild World podcast. I'm your host, Thomas, from the Wild World YouTube channel, and joining me is my co-host, Mika.
Hi, everyone. It's also Thomas's birthday, so happy birthday.
Yeah, and it's Mika's belated birthday because it was your birthday like a week ago.
Yeah.
So happy birthday to you as well.
Thank you.
Today, we delve into the realm of animals and dreams, navigate the ambiguous ethical terrain of poaching, debate the existence of the Nandi bear, and dissect a recent bear attack, and much more. But before we go into that, what's on your wildlife radar?
All right, so first, I was listening to a podcast, and it was talking about the beast of Gévaudan. Yeah, have you ever heard of that?
Of course.
Oh, okay. Well, I hadn't. So, yeah,
Well, you should have, because I've talked to you about it so many times.
I tuned it out. So the beast, the podcast said that they killed one, or they killed it, and they found a child in the stomach. But then I looked it up later, and I couldn't find any evidence that they ever proved that it was ever caught, or that it actually ate people or anything. So I was wondering if you knew anything about that.
From what I remember, there were multiple different wolves that were killed, and after they were killed, the killings of people seemed to stop, so they thought it would have been at least one of those wolves, if not a few wolves, I guess.
But was there a child found in the stomach?
I don't remember that part, but I do remember it attacking children.
Well, okay, because as far as I can tell, this podcaster just made that part up.
Okay. You're just calling them out on this podcast?
No, I'm just wondering, like, because I know it's like told in a narrative style, so I don't know if they added that to make it a better story or if it really is true. Yeah. Anyway, so that's one thing. Another thing is, I don't know if anyone's heard of this, but so President Biden of the United States, he has 2 German Shepherds, and his littler one was a rescue from a shelter. And he keeps biting the Secret Service members. His name is Commander, and he keeps biting them. And then there's this photo posted of the Bidens and the dog, and he looks so like like he knows he did something wrong, but he's not going to stop.
He doesn't
sort of.
care.
Yeah. It's so cute. But it's bad that he's biting them. He should stop doing that.
He's a puppy, though, so maybe he's just playing and he doesn't understand.
Yeah. It's really funny to me. Let's see what else. Right now, around me, there are lots of tiny spiky caterpillars. Like, they're just going everywhere. And I've heard it's the same, at least in the UK, because Tom Holland's Instagram story had one. Very similar, very spiky. So I was just wondering, like, have you been seeing any spiky caterpillars? Is this spiky caterpillar season? I don't get it.
No, I haven't seen any.
Huh. Well,
Maybe I spent too long indoors.
probably. You're very pale. We could do a cryptid court on you and if you're a vampire or not.
Wow. And on my birthday as well.
Well, how many birthdays have you had? That's the question.
Don't worry about that.
Oh, okay. And finally, the last thing on my radar is I saw a post on the internet of about a pet snake that really liked screen time, so iPads and TVs and stuff. Like, it's sitting up and it's really cute and it's watching the screen. So I was wondering why. Why would a snake like screens?
Yeah, It's always confusing with animals because sometimes you wonder why aren't they paying attention to the screen if there's animals on it,
Yeah.
and then sometimes they do pay attention.
I just really like the idea of like hanging out with a pet snake and watching a TV show together. Now that's my new
Yeah.
thing I want to do before I die.
Are you gonna get a pet snake?
I want to get a pet snake eventually in my life.
I recommend a reticulated python.
Okay. Well, I recommend a black mamba to you.
Okay. Just in case that went over anyone's head, maybe don't get those snakes unless you're super experienced.
No, just don't get them. Like, they're not good pets.
Well, maybe if you're experienced, you could get a python, a big python, if you have multiple
Maybe.
people with you whenever you handle it, but maybe don't get a mamba.
Right. Okay. How about you? Anything on your radar?
Not too much. I've been watching friend of the channel, Shark Toz or Shark Toes, T-O-Z.
I don't know.
I don't know. I try to find out exactly how to pronounce it by watching some of his videos. But just a nice support of the channel. I've been going back, watching some of his shark videos. So shout out to him. And if anyone listening is interested in sharks, he has a lot of great shark content. So check him out. That's Shark T-O-Z or Z. Cool dude. Okay, should we get into the news?
Okay. So I chose all the articles today because you didn't want to. You didn't see
Well,
any
I'm going to cut that
news.
out so no one will know anyway.
So the first article is from a little bit ago. It's about these famous conservationist anti-poacher people who I had never heard of.
So this is about why you're sort of pro-poaching?
No. Why don't you calm down and allow me to talk about it? So I have just written out a statement on this article for my opinion about it. So poachers are bad, right? I think almost everyone can agree on that. We hate that they are killing and exploiting innocent animals for just their ivory. But this article got me thinking about the problems with just condemning people and thinking they are evil and then punishing them. So I said before about whaling, I don't think that we should push our ethics onto other cultures. So this article is about a conservationist couple who came to Zambia to study lions. But while they were there, they focused a lot on stopping elephant poaching. So they are internationally recognized and beloved, apparently. But many people there hate them. There is some evidence that they used tactics like holding poachers in nets under helicopters and threatening to dump them in a river with hippos and crocodiles. Sometimes the poachers were found dead. The local people have said a lot of other stuff about it, and the Owenses deny it all. Yeah, what do you think about that, first of all?
Well, I think the first thing, sometimes poachers are found dead. In the article, there was one poacher, and according to the local authorities, there was no evidence or ongoing case that linked them to the killing whatsoever. So I feel like that might just be a little spicy piece to add in to make the piece interesting.
Okay,
so
well.
I don't know if they should necessarily be connected to that.
But they're actually threatening them, so it wouldn't be that unbelievable that they might have killed someone.
I don't know. I think that's a pretty major allegation to make.
Okay. So, beyond what the Owenses did or may not have done, there was a tribe there that was used to subsistence hunting. They only got enough so that they could eat, and they had lived among these animals for generations, and in their own way had practiced conservation. And then colonizers came and told them they had to leave, and that only the white foreigners, were allowed to hunt, like trophy hunting. And nowadays, a lot of the ancestral land has been bought by foreigners, and they allow hunting for tourists on that land, and the foreign landowners get that money, even though when the conservation efforts began, they told the locals that they should support this initiative because they could do other professions and conserve the animals and then be rewarded with the money from tourism. However, that's not where the money's going now. So why do we condemn the poachers who are just trying to survive the way they used to before this all changed?
The Owenses weren't stopped the locals from hunting and then opened like the trophy hunting parks. That's not the Owenses though, right?
No. That's
free them.
I'm just saying they're it's basically attacking a symptom of the problem instead of the actual problem in some ways.
Yeah. No, I just want to make sure we're clear that we're not saying that they're the ones who opened a hunting park or whatever.
Yes. But I think it is very sort of hypocritical that they are acting like this is the way and you guys are like backwards to do this, to poach. even though the problems that are causing the poaching were basically created by the other foreign people who came to this land. Because they weren't killing a bunch of animals before then. So I'm not saying the Owenses are terrible people. They helped give the local people who would otherwise have poached alternative subsistence methods and ways to make money, such as raising goats and sheep or beekeeping. And of course, I am generally on the side of the conservationists. It is important to diversify as economies away from hunting animals all over the world, because that's usually not a practice that is sustainable, and it can be very precarious. You know, there's extinctions going around all over the place. And yeah, I guess sometimes you do need to use sort of violent methods to combat poachers because they have guns and they can kill you. But I do think it is worthwhile to really look into the methods and moral standards of conservation efforts you're supporting, and realize that poachers are often desperate people who have been wronged by society or foreign intervention, and they might not be purely evil, as you might think. What do you think?
Yeah. I was also reading about the ivory trade, and this is obvious, but the biggest contributing factor to ivory poaching is the high demand. If you were to target maybe the people who are getting rich off of selling ivory in other countries or trying to buy ivory, I know maybe that would make more of an impact. What do you think about the helicopter story? Do you think that's true, where, just to reiterate, the guy put a poacher in a net and dangled them over a river with crocodiles and hippos?
Do I think it's true?
Because from what I read, it sort of sounds like it's somewhat plausible.
Yeah. I mean, it's just this one guy's story. I mean, why not believe him?
Yeah. Well, I guess it's like he said versus he said.
Yeah.
Also, his brother also said that happened.
Yeah. So
that's probably not a good thing to do.
Like, I guess the problem is, are you going to trust the criminals, who are also the locals who might, in this case, be the disadvantaged ones? Or are you going to trust the conservationists, who are the ones with privilege? Like, there are different layers, you know. Don't just say, oh, I'm not going to trust him because he's a criminal, because, like, what reason does he really have to lie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing as well is that guy went on to work for the Owenses for conservation.
Right.
So it's an interesting story. It sort of reminds me of when I was reading Gorillas in the Mist by Diane Fossey, and she was a woman who tried to help gorillas, I guess, in Rwanda, and how she said in the book that, like, she saw someone poaching one time and then she kidnapped the guy's son.
Wow.
And then wouldn't give him back until... Which, I don't know, it's sort of weird to just read. It's just such a casual thing, like, I took his son.
So let's go kidnap some people.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe there should be a line on what you can do to poachers as well.
Yeah. So, like, that's what I'm saying, is that you have to sort of think about it objectively from the historical perspective of people come to new societies, different societies all the time, they have, and they're like, what you're doing is morally wrong, so we're going to do in a very heavy-handed way, like, we're going to change you and make your behavior better. So this is about animal rights and the environment, which is I suppose, a less controversial thing, or a more obviously good thing. But in the past, people have done this for, like, you know, religion and other stuff. So it just seems like another iteration of it, to use these tactics.
Yeah, I know some big conservationist charities have been condemned for doing things like that, where they'll just show up to an area and tell everyone to leave. Or there's also another thing. I listened to a podcast a while ago where this woman, she felt pretty guilty about this. She was like a shark scientist, I guess, of sharks and rays, and they did like a population survey of these rays in somewhere in East Asia, I think, and they found that their numbers were very low. And then CITES, so determines if, like, animals are endangered or whatever, listed them as endangered, and therefore all the locals who fish them were forbidden from fishing them. It was made illegal and banned.
Yeah.
And so they had to stop, and that, like, a lot of people depended on that for their livelihoods, and they were only taking maybe, I can't remember the number, but let's say maybe a few dozen a month or something. So they all stopped that. But then large superpowers in the area that were taking hundreds and thousands just ignored the CITES thing because they didn't care, and they continued to fish. So
right, it's bad.
Yeah, I know. I feel like in conservation, if you don't, like, a lot of times people overlook the human element, but if you do that, not only are those people, like, getting screwed over, for lack of a better term. But I feel like you're also have this rocky foundation where now the locals have a bad experience with like conservationists, and there's like mutual distrust, and then conservation will probably fall apart.
Yeah. So there's a branch that's dedicated to making local humans the solution, which is community-based conservation, which I do think every conservation effort needs to have an element of this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like we could talk about that for a while, but maybe we should move on to the next one.
Okay. So the next ones are way, well, I was going to say lighter, but not necessarily. So the second article I chose was about an interesting phenomenon happening now in Britain and Ireland because of Hurricane Lee. So there are lots of North American birds that shouldn't be there in Britain and Ireland that are now there. 55 birds and 16 species, according to this article, which was from about a week ago. So I want to ask the listeners, have you seen any unusual birds lately? And
what was it? Warblers were some of the birds that were seen?
Yeah. And Thomas, I just wanted to ask, like, if you even recognize these birds that were mentioned, because I think if there was some bird unusual to my area, I might not even notice.
I didn't recognize any of them, actually.
Yeah, there's like a warbler, I think it's a cliff swallow, Baltimore oriole, 2 other ones that I didn't write down the name. But there are 16 species, so lots of different birds that you can see.
They're pretty colorful as well.
Yeah. So this is just an interesting weather phenomenon that many people are excited about. But it's also sort of not exciting because I read that these birds they're probably going to die now because they're really confused and they don't know how to get back to their migration path. So only the really smart ones will find their way back home, which is sad. Yeah. But it's not a lost cause. They might be okay. They'll just move to Africa.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's that. And then the third...
So keep an eye out.
Yeah, keep an eye out for unusual birds, although I think it should be over soon. They'll be leaving soon because it's fall.
Okay, keep an eye out quickly.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I did want to say, like, it's fall now. It feels more fall to me than it has. Yeah, I feel so, like, into the Halloween spirit.
Yeah, it feels nice, actually.
It does feel nice. I like it. So, third story is sadder. It's about a bear attack in Banff National Park in Canada. So 2 people and their dog were killed. There are 691 grizzly bears in Alberta province, 65 in the park itself. I think it was 1 bear that probably attacked them.
1 extra violent or extra aggressive bear or something, they said.
Yeah. Did it say that they caught the bear or no?
Yeah, they shot it, I think.
Oh, okay. I've always wondered that, like, I also wondered this reading or listening to your latest video. How do they know that it's the culprit?
Well, for another bear story, I know they like did autopsies on the bears to see. There was this other time where there was a bear attack in an area and rangers went in and for days just killed every grizzly in the area and kept doing autopsies.
So it's sort of random. Like they can't prove it until after it's dead, basically. Well, so yeah. The tips for if you are in an area with lots of grizzly bears is travel in groups and make noise, don't startle the bears, and don't threaten their cubs.
Yeah. I was looking up the thing about traveling in groups, because apparently it's like super rare to be attacked if you're in a big group. I think they said 3 or more is usually good. But I did read of an account that happened in Alaska in 2011, where there was 3 people, but the problem there was that they were spaced out. So I guess if you're traveling in a group, try and stick close together, especially if you notice a bear in the area.
Well, in The Edge, the movie set in Alaska, there was a group, and that didn't stop the bear.
Yeah. Well, it sort of helped. I mean, they did mild spoilers, but some people survived.
Right. But not everyone.
Not everyone.
So that was just interesting because, like, I guess it's never registered as a fear to me that I might get eaten by a grizzly bear one day.
It's extremely rare, right?
Yeah, but it's just like, I'm not afraid to go camping in Canada, but I guess there's a reason to be afraid. Pretty crazy.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's not like a reason to be afraid, but a reason to be cautious and not leave food out or travel alone or...
But how are you supposed to make a bunch of noise in your sleep? Because I think they were killed, like, in their sleep, right?
Oh, were they?
Oh, I don't know. I thought it was like they checked the tent or
There's not a whole lot of... I think they're trying to keep certain things out of the media because it's so recent. They don't want to, like, upset the family and stuff. So I don't know how many details are out.
Okay. Yeah, it just says it killed 2 people. There was an alert sent out around 8 p.m. So I guess it wasn't in their sleep. But still, like, what are you supposed to do? What if they come at night?
I know, I guess just try really hard not to leave any food out and stuff. So.
But what if you're the food?
I don't know.
Anyway, it's just a sad and interesting story, I guess. So is that it? Should we move on?
Yeah, let's go into a wild chat.
All right, so I decided, because I had the dream about being a mermaid, that we should talk about the best wildlife-related dreams you've ever had, if you can remember any. Mm-hmm. So can you remember any?
I can remember a few, but I'm curious about, you put lava dinosaurs.
Yeah, have I not told you about this dream? It's a very vivid dream for me.
Possibly.
I was in my neighborhood. I was a kid when I had this dream, and I remember a volcano erupted near my house, and then the lava started, like, pouring out. It was a very voluminous eruption, or, like, it had lots of liquid instead of gas, I guess. And out of the lava, basically the eruption, like, disrupted the fossils or something in the ground and animated them with the high energy from the eruption. And then
I like how you're trying to add the scientific explanation to your dream. Let's try and make it
I've thought
sense.
about it a lot. So so then the dinosaur skeletons animated, and they took up the lava and became huge lava dinosaurs. It was so scary. And then they were, like, running through the streets and tracking lava with them. And I remember at that point I turned around and there was a triceratops with, like, glowing eyes and lava pouring out of its mouth, and it was chasing me. I was so scared, and I started running, but, in a dream you cannot run. Like, my legs were not working right, and oh god. Yeah. I think I woke up before I was eaten by the lava triceratops. It was terrifying.
It sounds like an album, like, art cover, like a heavy metal album or something.
Yeah. Well, it's a good thing that I don't think this can really happen, even if you live by a volcano. So, don't worry.
I don't know. I've had a few dinosaur dreams that were really scary, but I guess the cool thing is, like, you're probably never going to see a non-avian dinosaur, so dreams are the closest things. But usually they are attacking. Like, I had one dream where I was, like, lying in bed, and I rolled over, and one of the walls in my room was gone, and a T-Rex was, like, had its head sticking in.
Oh no. Did it eat you?
Yeah, it ate me, and then I woke up.
Oh. I've had dreams.
An experience.
I've had dreams where a large bird or pterosaur picked me up and I was, like, flying, but it was scary because it wanted to eat me, I think.
Might have been just giving you a lift.
Maybe. Any other dreams?
None really come to mind. I usually forget my dreams pretty quick.
I feel like most of the dreams I remember don't have wildlife in them. Maybe it's not a very common thing to dream about.
I wonder if there's one of those, like, what your dreams mean thing about dinosaurs.
Yeah. I have had one dream which you could maybe consider it wildlife if you could consider these things cryptids. Do you know that, like, you know how McDonald's used to have more mascots than just Ronald McDonald?
Like the Hamburglar and the purple guy and everything?
Yeah, okay, so let me look at a picture of it. Old McDonald's.
I don't think, like, Ronald McDonald is a cryptid, though.
I'm not saying he is. Okay, so if you look up old McDonald's mascots, I guess I'll send you a picture right now. Like,
what was the purple guy called? Grumbly or something?
I don't know. I think those little poofy guys are, like, chicken nuggets or something. I don't know. So do you see in this picture, the orange guy?
He used to be a pirate?
Yeah.
I don't remember half of these.
Do you
see
some
weird KFC looking guy.
Do you see the orange guy? The small orange guy?
Yeah.
So in my dream, this orange guy was combined with the purple guy to be this huge, like, chicken nugget shaped monster, which could be some type of Sasquatchy thing. Right? And in my dream,
I don't think something you saw in your dream is a cryptid, though. I dreamed this, so maybe it's real.
In my dream, sometimes dreams can reveal the truth that we have noticed in our subconscious, but we haven't processed. Like if I saw it in the corner of my eye in a forest and I didn't realize.
And you didn't notice?
Yeah. So this big orange guy, he was riding a broomstick and he came to my school. I was in 4th grade and he was allied with Harry Potter and his friends. And Harry Potter and his friends came down and tied us to the ground so that the so that the scary giant orange chicken nugget Sasquatch guys could come and pick us up and take us away.
That's classic Harry.
So that, I mean, it's something. I wouldn't be surprised if someone...
Something, it's nothing. It's just a dream.
Well, where did McDonald's come up with the idea for these creatures? I'm going to say they're cryptids. They're so weird and scary.
Speaking of cryptids, shall we move into Cryptid Court?
Oh yeah, I was actually thinking we should do a discussion today instead of a debate, unless you wanted to do a debate. I thought we could do like on and off, like I'm pro, then you're pro, then a discussion. So that it's 1 out of 3 is a discussion.
Sure.
Were you upset? Did you have a really good argument prepared?
Not really.
Okay. Yeah, so discussion then. So what is our cryptid today?
Today it's the Nandi bear.
Interesting. So
from mostly Kenya, but also other parts of East Africa?
Yes, so the Nandi bear is named that because of the Nandi people in Western Kenya. So most of these sightings are related to the land where the Nandi people live. However, when I was researching this, basically most of what I have to say has to do with this fact is that there are a billion names for the Nandi bear.
And a billion different images for what it looks like.
So here, I'll just list out some names and where they come from or what they mean. So besides Nandi bear, which I believe is given to the creature by like foreigners who work there.
It seems like it, yeah.
Yeah. So there are also local names and, other language names. So there's Chemosit. I could not find any of these pronunciations anywhere, so I'm sorry. But anyway, Chemosit is a devil. That means devil. There's Carrot.
It looks like a devil.
Carrot, like Kerit. Kodilo, I think, which is from the Ngao region of Kenya. And that's said
Sorry to cut you off,
yeah.
But since this is like, some people might just be listening to audio, do you think we should like describe what they look like?
Okay, if it looks different, then I'll describe it. How about that?
Different from what? We didn't say what it looked like at all.
Okay, fine. First, I will describe what the Nandi bear is typically said to look like. How's that? Okay, yeah. So the Nandi bear, again from Western Kenya, is said to be fierce, nocturnal, stands on its hind legs with a sloping back from its shoulders when it's not standing on its hind legs. And it kills and scalps people and eats their brains. It has reddish hair and long feet. Has tiny ears, although some people say it has big ears. 4 to 5 feet at the shoulder. Is that a good description?
Yeah,
Shuffly walk.
It could stand on its hind legs, but I thought it was usually a quadruped, no?
Yeah, it stands on its hind legs, but it also doesn't always.
Okay.
And it can do a shuffly walk like a bear or like a...
Right.
Yeah. Okay, but like I said, there are lots and lots of different competing descriptions and names. So Chemosit is another name for it, means devil. And when I looked up Chemosit, first of all, like, even though it says that Chemosit is a Nandi bear, I saw one image that was like a weird chicken thing.
Looks like a chicken goblin.
It's
20
so
feet
scary.
tall or something.
It's honestly way scarier than a Nandi bear description. It has like this huge gaping beak mouth, and then it's like standing on this talon foot, and it has like little shriveled arms, and it's holding onto a cane. Ugh.
In comparison to a human, the human is only like up to its knee.
Yeah. So that is apparently... It's weird because Chemosit is supposed to be the local name for a Nandi bear. It's not like it's another creature that has been lumped in. So I don't understand how it can both be the description of a Nandi bear and also look like that. I do not understand that part. So other names. Carrot, like I said, Kerit. Kodilo, which is from Ngao, Kenya, and is supposed to look more like a baboon, like a really big baboon, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sort of the size of a lion. but it's a baboon. Another word is ngoloko from Tanzania, which has big ears and a prominent nose, sort of like...
Looks like a Bigfoot.
Yes, it does look like Bigfoot. It's very hairy, has a beard, and it stands taller than a human. Duba, which means bear or hyena in Arabic, interestingly. So it's clear to me that like some of these cultures that are witnessing this creature can't even tell if it's a bear or a hyena, or they lump them together because they have similar words.
Yeah.
The Shivu Ver from Kakamega country, Kenya, could not find any other description of that. The Mubende beast, which I saw in one description, is sort of feline, interestingly. The Nyangao, which means dirty dog or bloody brute. Giant forest hyena. Ver. Sabruku from Kenya-Uganda border. Kikambangwe. Kikomba from West Africa. Komba means small arboreal primate, like a lemur or an aye. And if you look up Kikomba, you can find this image from a very old book. And it looks like a kappa, but bigger and stockier, right?
Yeah, it also just looks like a person on one side. It just looks like a kind of hairy person.
Yeah, like you can see the sloping back thing because it's like almost with its hands on the ground. So it has a similar body shape to a big baboon or maybe a hyena, but it's humanoid. So that's a kikomba. And gadet, which is a term from the Limbwa of Kenya. So I'm not sure how true any of these are. I got them from various different sources. But the point is, no one can agree what this animal looks like, what its name is. But that's because there are lots and lots of different languages in this region. But no one can agree on basically anything, right?
It's somewhere between 20 to 4 feet tall, could possibly resemble a chicken goblin / baboon / Sasquatch / human / bear / hyena.
Right. Yeah. It's so, well, let's keep talking about the facts of this case and then we'll decide what we think about it, right? Mm-hmm. The first recorded sighting is apparently 1905 in Western Kenya. Yeah, I guess it would be legends. It would be a legend before that from the local people. Like first written down, first named, I don't know. 1905, and then it was spotted a bunch of times in between 1905 and the 1990s. It hasn't been seen since the 1990s, and there's been a lot of deforestation since then. So that could explain it. What do you think?
Which was the sighting where a guy was on a train and he saw it running by?
I think you're remembering the most famous sighting, which occurred during the construction of the Magadi Railway in British East Africa in 1913. A railway engineer, G.W. Hicks, saw the creature. Oh, he was on a motor trolley, and he was traveling to the construction site.
Oh, yeah. And he saw it running on 4 legs.
He saw it running on 4 legs. It looked like a hyena, but then when he saw it closer, it was as tall as a lion. It had that shaggy hair. It was running away. It had short ears and no tail, large feet. He was going to go look for it, but he had to work, so he couldn't right away, and then he lost it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the big one. Then there's another story that was repeated on a lot of different sites about the young girl who was captured from a village around 1914. She was a 6-year-old girl. She was dragged through the thorns, and they saw blood all in the thorns. So they were like, even if it didn't kill her, she's not going to be alive because she's being torn up by these thorns. Then they found it, and it had cracked open her skull and eaten her brains. So...
Sounds like a lion attack.
It does. It sounds exactly like your video. Although, did the lions like the brains the best? Did you say that?
Well, I'm not sure the best, but they used to crack open the skulls to eat the brains. Yeah.
Delicious. It also captured some guys. It's captured lots of dogs. Like, people have gone out to hunt it, and then their dog has disappeared. It's killed cattle. So, yeah. So there were lots of sightings, and not just sightings, killings, right? So I wrote down some theories. These are different theories that different people have put out there. And again, it's interesting to note how different all the theories are. The theories are bear, of course, anthropoid ape, gorilla. This is an out there one, a chalicothere, which is like related to a horse and a rhino, right? Or I forgot, but
I think so. It's a
really
herbivorous
big
ungulate. Yeah,
really big prehistoric creature. Spotted hyena, brown hyena, short-faced hyena. This is notable because the spotted hyena is the one that would be in the area, and it has the shaggy red fur, but the brown hyena is like closer to the description, I guess, and it's not really seen in that area. I think this is what I remember. And the short-faced hyena is extinct, but it also could match the description. The ratel or honey badger, which makes sense because honey badgers are very vicious, but would they kill?
But very small.
Yeah. Would they do all this stuff? Who knows? African wild dogs, which African wild dogs are actually terrifying. So.
Yeah, I heard they're super. Well, I don't want to vilify any animal as always, but I heard they're like pretty dangerous.
Yes, they're very malicious. Then aardvarks, which is interesting. Giant baboons.
Arthur the aardvark.
Chimpanzees, and even ostriches, which could explain the chamoset weird thing. But
The goblin chicken thing.
yeah. So, right. So perhaps it is an animal that we've never heard of, or an animal that we think is extinct, or just a weird, freaky variant of any of these animals I mentioned. But it's so hard to say because, of the varying descriptions and circumstances.
Yeah.
When you talk about the Nandi bear, what are you really talking about? Are you talking about the animal that killed the 6-year-old girl, which could have been a lion? Or are you talking about that weird deformed hyena the guy saw on the train? Why are these all lumped together? That's what I want to know.
Yeah. There's just so many. It's so hard to pin down, and then there's no hard evidence of there being another animal.
Yeah.
I guess there's like a sketch of a footprint, and I was looking at it. I don't think the sketch is particularly good, but it doesn't look like a hyena or a lion.
Yeah, an analyst.
Sort of look like
Sorry?
Go ahead.
An analyst said that footprint could have been, I think, a honey badger. 2 honey badger footprints on top of each other.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. I think the problem is these are different groups of people. This is a large area. It's Central Africa, which is one of the most diverse areas in the whole world, right? And lots of different languages. Like, tribes have no reason to talk to each other. They're not the same, right? They're different groups of people. And I think there were these people coming in trying to settle Africa, colonial Africa, and they were all from the same place. They were like from England, maybe, or France. And Africa is notorious for being lumped in politically with like places that have nothing to do with each other. I think when they were building the railroads and stuff like that, and they were seeing some weird creature that was, first of all, weird to them because they were not from Africa. I mean, it could have been an actually weird creature, or it could have just been like a hyena, right? And then they were like, what is that? And then they were trying to gather information, and they talked to a bunch of random people, all from different cultures. And that's how they got all these different descriptions and all these different names. And then they made a name for it, the Nandi bear. And then later on, like throughout history until the 1990s, people would just take the easy route and call it Nandi bear. And then you would lose all the extraneous information or the extra information about where it was sighted, who saw it, like what animal it looked like. And so I think it's because they didn't know a lot about it when they first heard about it, that all of these different things have been lumped together, and they might not be the same.
Yeah, I think so.
But it would be really interesting, like if any of these creatures were real, like the giant baboon looks pretty cool. The weird like forest troll Sasquatch guy, he looks fun. He looks very wise.
What about the one that's just like a dude?
No, he's not just a dude. He looks like half frog, half man. He's so, like, his face is so wide, and his legs are almost webbed. That's the Kikomba. The Chamoset, I mean, that is probably the scariest one. It just looks like a demon spawn. I'm scared of that one. And yeah, ostriches are scary. I could see this being someone's description of an ostrich if they had never seen one.
Yeah.
But I am most interested in the giant baboon subspecies or other species, I think. Also, giant hyena would be sort of cool too. What do you think?
I guess I just wanted to mention really quick, I know some people say the train sighting, or not the train, what was it?
The railway.
The one on the railway, they were like, that guy had seen many hyenas before, so he'd know what a hyena would look like. I guess that's a fair point, but there's probably some variation with different hyenas. Mm-hmm. And if you saw it while moving and it was running through the bush.
Well, if you want an authority on this subject, if you want someone who has got it all figured out and decided what the Nandi bear looked like and is, all you have to do is read about Tarzan. Because Tarzan has defined the Nandi bear. Tarzan fights it in a comic. If you look up Tarzan versus Nandi bear, you can see him fighting it on the cover. It's definitely looks like a bear, and it has a large snout, as some descriptions have said. And yeah, so that's the definitive answer. Definitive answer is that it's a bear, and Tarzan fought it and won.
All right. Well, I guess we can move on unless we have any final thoughts.
I had so much fun researching this because of all the unhinged images that I was able to unearth.
Yeah.
It was so entertaining. Like here I'm trying to look at a bear and I'm looking at this chicken thing or this weird squat man. I would really love to hear from a local from this region of Central Africa, which again, it could be anywhere in Kenya, Rwanda, Tanzania, Uganda. Those areas are where it's typically heard of. If you're from there, please tell us what you think about the Nandi bear. I'd love to know.
Yeah, what's like the local legend of it?
Yeah.
Good to know.
So, should we move on to Q&A? We
Yeah, do
don't
we have any
we don't have any Q&A today, but why don't you tell people how they can submit a question?
Sure. If you want to send us a question or a comment, you can send it to thewildworldpodcast@gmail.com. That's thewildworldpodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah. So we don't have a Q&A today, and also I hadn't seen any interesting comments lately, so
I guess that ends this episode.
Yeah.
Wow, I'm just looking at that Nandi bear. It looks like a dog, the head.
The one in the Tarzan comic?
Nandi bear, yeah.
Yeah. I like how this guy, he looks sort of like Rhys Darby or something. He's like cowering in the side while Tarzan, wearing almost no clothes, is attacking the bear.
Rhys Darby might star in a Tarzan movie with a cryptid.
Really?
Well, I'm saying hypothetically it might be possible since he likes cryptozoology and he's an actor.
Wow. You can only hope. Okay. Thank you for listening.
Yeah, thank you very much for listening.
Let us know what you think about all of the stuff we said. Comment, email us, like and subscribe.
And share the podcast around if you feel like it.
Yeah. And look out for birds and bears and baboons.
And chicken goblin monsters.
Yes, if you see one of those, definitely let someone know.
Don't keep it to yourself.
All right. Bye.
All right. See you next time. Bye-bye. Da 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 da.